today we're learning about lesson 3, which talks about real world positive and negative numbers and zero. So as you learned in the last lessons, zero is neither positive or negative. So that's why it's not included with the positive and negative numbers in the title. Okay, so today you're going to use positive and negative numbers to indicate a change, and the change would be represented by either a loss or a gain. So we're going to be talking about elevation with a fixed reference point, temperature, and the balance in the bank account. So these are all real world situations. When we think about elevation, we may think about climbing mountains or something really high up. When we think about temperature, we might think about our thermostat found in our homes when we adjust the temperature. And then when you think about a bank account, you might think about something that you want to have in the future. So we're going to be referring to these real world situations throughout the lesson. So we're going to get started with lesson 1, which lesson 1, it says the purpose of this example is for you to understand how negative and positive numbers can be used to represent real world situations. So let's dive right in. So look at your paper. So on your paper, you'll see an example 1. It says a look at sea level. Can anyone tell me what sea level is? What's sea level? What does that mean by sea level? Anyone want to take a try at sea level? Does anyone know what a sea is? Yeah, sea is what?
The sea is basically a huge body of water.
It's a huge body of water. Okay, what does level mean? For something to be level, what is level?
Level means like if it's like
Water.
it can be leveled.
So if I'm falling over, am I leveled?
No, you're unlevel.
I'm unlevel, unstable, right? Alright, so for something to be level, it has to be what?
Even.
Maybe even. Alright, so you know that sea is a body of water. Level means that something that's at surface level. Meaning that we can stand on it, we're not moving, we're not sinking, we're not too high up, we're just at ground level, right? Alright, so now in example 1, read for me, Ariel, example 1.
The picture below shows 3 different people participating in activities at 3 different elevations. With a partner, discuss what you see. What do you think the word elevation means in the situation?
Alright, so here I've drawn this nice image that you have on your worksheet. It looks like it to me, okay? So with your partner, and I want you to remember to keep a restaurant volume. You can turn and talk to someone around you if they're on the same lesson as you and ask them, what does the word elevation mean to you? So with us, the people we have in the room, what does the word elevation mean to you, Caitlin?
Elevation means when you elevate, you keep on going up.
Alright, so I hear the word up. Ariel, what is elevation to you?
Well, when I think of elevate, I think of an elevator, and the elevator usually goes up.
Alright, so elevation sounds like the word elevators, and elevators usually go up, but elevators can come down too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Aria?
Elevation, you can either go higher or you can get lower.
Okay, so you can go higher or you can get lower. So at what point in this image do you think something was elevating? At what point? So is it when the guy was hiking, or when they were sailing, or when they were diving? Caitlin?
When the guy was hiking.
When the guy was hiking, because he was at a what?
Above sea level.
He was above sea level, so he was up above or elevated above sea level. Alright, so let's turn our page. Well, it may be at the bottom of your page. Go back for me 1 page. So we're going to look at exercise number 1. Okay, so it says refer back to example 1. Use the following information to answer the questions. Okay, so the first one, read that first bullet point for me.
The scuba diver is 30 feet below sea level.
Alright, so where would that be?
Under the boat.
Alright, so right here, this scuba diver is 30 feet below sea level, okay? What does it say the sailor is?
The sailor is at sea level.
He's at sea level, okay? So this image looks kind of funny on mine, but he's not under the water. He's actually floating on top of the water. So he's at sea level, okay? And then it says the hiker is what?
Above sea level.
It says how far above sea level?
2 miles.
2 miles, and 2 miles is equivalent to how many feet?
10,560 feet.
10,560 feet. So in exercise 1 through 2, you're going to write these situations as an integer. So an integer is simply a whole number and its opposite. It's a set of whole numbers and its opposites. So again, whole numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, or 0. Okay, so using these same situations, I want you to tell me, write an integer for the scuba diver. So remember they told us the scuba diver was 30 feet below sea level. So what type of integer would that represent? Who can tell me what type of integer or what that would look like if I write it as a whole number?
30.
Just 30? So is that all I'm going to see on number 1 for the scuba diver? So I'm talking about the scuba diver. Okay? He's 30 feet below sea level. The key word there is below. So if I have a below sea level, is that positive to be below or negative?
Negative.
Negative. So my number there should be what type of 30?
A negative.
Negative.
A negative 30. Okay, that's what type of integer I would have, a negative 30. The key word there is below. Okay, so the sailor is at sea level. So if I'm at sea level, I'm kind of at ground level. Do I have any elevation?
No.
But am I below?
No.
So where am I?
In the
What
middle.
integer? In the middle. So that's a good point, right? So if I'm in the middle, think about a number line. At what point are you in the middle?
0.
5.
What point?
0.
0. So at 0. So if I'm sailing at sea level, I'm just simply at 0. I don't have any elevation, and I'm also not below. I'm just simply at 0, right in the middle. So for my sailor, the integer that represents that would simply be 0. All right, the last person that we have to represent an integer for is our hiker. So think about our hiker who's up here on the mountain without any ropes and things. He's just standing up there. Okay, so the hiker went how far up, Caitlin? Do you remember? Ariel, how far up did the hiker go?
2 miles.
The hiker went 2 miles, what, up, right? Alright, so what type of integer will represent 2 miles if I'm above sea level? Is above positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. So what type of integer would represent a positive change?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. So for my hiker, on number 1, I'm simply going to write a positive 2. Who can remind us why our scuba diver has a negative 30? Kayla?
Because he's under and under is negative.
Okay, because he's under or he's below, and that represents a negative situation. So this integer or this number will be negative. All right, let's move right along. Okay, so on number 2 requires us to use a vertical number line. Remember that vertical goes straight up and down like north and south. So this time we're going to refer to this vertical number line that we see listed here. So it says, use an appropriate scale to graph each of the following situations on the number line to the right. So on your paper you have a blank number line. It says also write an integer to represent both situations. So just like we wrote integers to represent our hiker and our sailboat and our diver, you're going to write integers for these situations that we have listed beside A and B. So here's our number line. We have a blank number line, and I know on A it says a hiker is how many feet above sea level?
15.
15 feet. So what's our key word there that lets us know if our integer will be positive or negative?
Above.
Above. So the word above lets me know that I'm going to have a positive or negative integer.
Positive.
Positive. So I know this integer is going to be positive. Okay? And what number goes with that positive?
A plus. No.
What number?
15.
15, because it says a hiker is 15 feet above sea level. So what number am I going to write? Negative 15 or positive 15?
Positive 15.
Just a positive 15. Just 15 by itself. which means positive 15. The next one says a diver 20 feet below sea level. What would that look like?
A
Negative 20.
20.
Knock if you agree. Negative 20. Yep, I agree. What let us know that it was negative 20?
The word below.
The word below. How did I know to use the number 20?
Because it says
Because
the diver is 20 feet.
Because it said 20 feet and then use the word below. So I know that this is a negative 20. Now if I go back to my directions, it tells me to use an appropriate scale to graph each situation on the number line. So this is still a vertical number line, and I know that what is in the middle of my number line?
Zero.
At the center point. 0. 0 still in the middle. So I'll put 0 there, okay? So I have to make it to a positive 15 and a negative what? Negative what?
Negative 20.
Negative 20. So what type of numbers are located above the 0 on a vertical number line?
Positive.
Positive numbers are located above. So what could I possibly count by so that I can quickly get to 15 on the number line?
5.
Fives, right? So I can say 0, then I can go 5. What's the next number?
10.
10,
15.
15, then what?
20.
20. All right, so below the 0 on a vertical number line, I will have what type of numbers?
Negative.
Negatives. So going down, I would have what?
Negative 5.
Negative 5,
Negative 10.
negative 10,
Negative 15.
negative 15, and then what?
Negative 20.
Negative 20. Christopher, make sure that you get a view of that vertical number line. So the directions tell us we use an appropriate scale because we're able to graph a positive 15 and a negative what?
20.
Negative 20. So on those points, on the number line, I need to put a dot on my positive 15, which is here. So I'm going to shade that in with a dot. And then I need to put a dot on my what?
Negative 20.
On my negative 20. Okay? Now, it's an appropriate scale because I have increased by equal intervals. What I mean is, I started at 0 and every time I'm increasing by what?
5.
Fives, okay? So you can't have a number line where you start out and you increase by 5 and you go to 1s and then go to 10s, okay? It has to increase by equal intervals. So above the 0 on a vertical number line, we have positive numbers, and below we have negative numbers. Now, on the rest of the packet, I'm going to allow you to do this part by yourself. On number 3, it says for each statement there are 2 related statements. You have I and 2 I's, okay? So that's like 1 and 2. Determine which related statement is expressed correctly and circle it. So let's look at A, 3A on your paper. It's not on the board. So it says, it's not on the board. A submarine is submerged 800 feet below sea level. So here you have to circle one of the 2 situations below, okay? You're either going to circle the depth of the submarine is negative 8,000 feet below sea level, or you're going to circle 2, which says 800 feet below sea level can be represented by the integer negative 8,000. So you're going to circle one of those 2. You're either going to circle the depth of the submarine is negative 8,000 feet below sea level, or you're going to circle the depth of the submarine is 800 feet below sea level. So which one do you think you're going to circle? Does anyone know? I'll give you a second to think about that. Okay, so what you should circle, and I want you to put your finger by the one that you should circle, is the one that says that they are 800 feet below sea level, can be represented by the integer negative 8,000. Okay? Should be right beside your number 2. See that? So you make sure that you select this one. This is the one that you should circle to represent this situation. All right, and moving on throughout the packet in your problem set, which will be coming up next, you have some problems where you're going to describe whether the situation represents a gain or a loss. And remember to look for keywords like if a situation represents gain, it'll say something in a positive situation. If If it represents a loss, it'll be something that represents a negative situation. So I want you to do your best on this part. If you experience any difficulties, I want you to locate your small group teacher, so the teacher that you normally go to small group with, locate that teacher so that they can assist you with this area. Thank you for your time.